What's up, everybody? Welcome to Florida Hood Blogs. Today we're going to look at the top 10 friendliest towns in the state of Florida. That's right, the towns where you get a hey y'all, where people open doors for you, where people are loving, southern hospitality and friendly, where you get a big smile. Yes, we're going to talk about the top 10 friendliest towns in Florida. Are you guys ready for this list? Let's do it. Number 10 on the list is a big surprise because it's a big city. Tampa, Florida is number 10 on our list. It has southern hospitality. Even though it is a large metropolitan area, Tampa remains a southern hospitality place where people say hey y'all, where people are friendly. The best thing about Tampa is you don't have to worry about what color you are and what neighborhood you're in. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. In Tampa, everybody's a human being, and even though it's a large city, it deserves to be on this list because the city of Tampa doesn't care what color you are, what nationality you are, or what neighborhood you're in. The only thing the city of Tampa cares about is if you're nice, friendly, and welcoming, and they will be the same way to you. The city of Tampa had a competitor for the 10th place, and it was the city of Jacksonville, another amazing city, but I did have to pick one of the two, and because Tampa is a little bit more diverse, I went with Tampa. Now, there's a huge misunderstanding. People think that just because a place is diverse, it's automatically friendly, and that is a huge misunderstanding. Many cities like Orlando, who demographically appear to be very diverse, are actually very segregated towns. So congratulations to the city of Tampa for ending up on the list of friendliest places. One of the things that impressed me the most about Tampa was being in a nice little Cuban neighborhood where everybody's either Cuban or Colombian, and seeing a wealthy person get out of a luxury SUV and walk into this little bodega and order his sandwich and not even have to give the order because they already knows what he wants. The fact that wealthy people are able to mingle with the working class people in the city of Tampa, you don't see that in too many places. So it's very commendable that the city of Tampa has gone so far, not only for its people, but also for supporting its businesses. It's really important that people support businesses in poor neighborhoods, and the city of Tampa, even though it's a big city, deserves to be on this list. And the city of Jacksonville was a competitor for Tampa, but Tampa won on this list. Tampa has 2 Latino districts. In Armenia, there's a Colombian district, and Ybor City is a Cuban district historically. However, it's actually a very mixed district where it's just about everybody goes to hang out, and it's really commendable, again, that Tampa has neighborhoods and districts that are ethnic and mixed and diverse, and where people are enjoying a mix of cultures. There's an Italian culture, there's a Cuban culture, there's African American culture, all that mixed into this beautiful city, and gives Tampa one of the nicest, most friendliest group of people in the state of Florida. Number 9 is Micanopy, Island Grove, Cross Creek, and Lollapalooza. I know that's 4 different places, but they're really close to each other. This is between Ocala and Gainesville. These are beautiful southern towns with a lot of history, a lot of beautiful people who appreciate their Florida culture. This is a very tolerant, welcoming, friendly area. Also, the north meets the south here. There's a lot of Victorian homes in the area from way back in the day. It's a beautiful area, beautiful historic districts, friendly people, lots of Florida history, and it's a place where you can really feel at home even if you're not from there. People in this part of Florida live a very simple life, and everybody can spare a moment of their life to spend a few words with a stranger, and that's really hard to get in Florida. This is a beautiful area with beautiful people, lots of history and culture. Everybody is friendly, everybody gets along. There's a lot of history and a lot of culture, and if you're new to Florida, this is an area of Florida you must visit to understand the real Florida and understand the real state history. So if you're new to Florida or you're thinking about Florida, this needs to be one of your top tours, your top destinations. You absolutely have to see the real Florida, and you're gonna see it here in this area. Again, number 9, Micanopy, Island Grove, Cross Creek, Lollapalooza. Lots of good things to do and nice little towns to see. Nearby, the cities of Gainesville and Ocala are really big on football, so that may be an excuse to visit the area. While the southern rural people at first glance may appear a little bit rough around the edges, once you get to meet these people and talk to them and spend some time with them, you're going to find out they're amazing people. As a Hispanic, when I visit these places, I'm always a little little bit afraid the first time because I don't know what to expect. But after being there, I can tell you these are really warm, good, friendly people, and the area really deserves a visit. I know most people assume that people in the city are naturally more friendly and naturally more open. However, in my travels, I haven't found better people than the country, rural people of Florida. And many of them even acknowledge the fact that they're descendants of Cuban fishermen from the area, or they're mixed with Italian Cubans from Tampa, or that the Spaniards were here way before the Englishmen. It's really interesting to hear American people say that to me. When you travel through the United States, you don't really get a lot of that. So don't judge a book by its cover. These are really friendly people, and the sights to see in this area of Florida are really worth it. You're going to enjoy your visit. I definitely recommend you check out this part of Florida. Number 8 on the list is the rural town of Inverness. This little beautiful town has amazing lakes, friendly people, great little cafes, and a small town USA feel. This is definitely one of the nicest areas in Florida, and the people are just as nice as the scenery. You will feel like small town USA, seeing families with their kids going out for coffee. It doesn't seem like there's a 9 to 5 grind out here. People are just really slowing down life and enjoying the good things like time and family and opening doors for strangers and having small shot with somebody they've never met. Inverness is a great little city. The people are amazing. This is an awesome place. We personally enjoy the Cattle Dog Cafe. Their food is amazing and always really good environment, great vibes in there. I personally had an experience where I was blocking a boat ramp, unaware of it. I was blocking a boat ramp, and the people actually waited for me a very long time. Eventually, I noticed that there was 2 cars behind me waiting, and I got out and I asked them if they were going to use the boat ramp, and they said yes. I apologized and I walked away. They weren't even upset or mad or angry. They patiently waited. If you block a boat ramp in South Florida, you were going to get screamed at, you're going to get honked the horn at, you're going to get flicked off. They're going to come knock on your window screaming at you to get out of their way. These people, 2 of them, patiently waited while I was blocking a place where I shouldn't have even been there because I didn't even have a boat. But that just shows you how friendly and hospitable and respectful people are in this part of Florida. You're really going to be surprised at how genuine people are out here. Inverness, Florida has definitely impressed me with their good people, with their good manners, and how respectful the people are in this part of Florida. Number 7 is Perry, Florida. As you are heading north along 98 out of Inverness, you eventually get to Perry, Florida. This is a very rural area. The people out here are really amazing. When we were there, we had some food. We're just on the road driving through, and I noticed how friendly and awesome the people were in this town. And I did an online survey for this list, so this isn't just my opinion. I did a YouTube online survey, and I also did some on Facebook to see what other people thought. And sure enough, Perry, Florida was a top contender on the Facebook survey that we took with many votes. And I totally agree. This is a great area. This part of Florida has a lot of friendly, good country people that are willing to give you their time and a big smile. So definitely Perry, Florida deserves to be on this list. What is odd about this part of Florida, though, is that while people are very friendly in person, they're somewhat very aggressive behind the wheel. I guess since they're used to being on country roads, they get very impatient in traffic. Where in the city, people are more patient in traffic because we're used to traffic jams. So it may just be something that we're used to. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. And I think that's generally anywhere in the United States. If it's country, people are very impatient when they're driving because they're not used to being in a traffic jam. But for us in the city, we're used to being in traffic jams, so we can be a little bit more patient behind the wheel. Just a small observation. So if you're driving through this area, you might think people are really aggressive by the way they drive, but once you get out and talk to people, you find out it's totally different. Number 6 is Cedar Key. Also in the same vicinity of Florida. Cedar Key is a beautiful, historic little island in right where Florida has that big bend. It's an awesome area with great people, great restaurants, great businesses. This is a tourist destination that you can experience yourself. We personally enjoyed the great southern food, awesome seafood, local fresh seafood, friendly people. I got to fish on the boat ramps there. They have this big fishing pier, and I was fishing there. There's also a lot of tourists in the area, and the tourists seem to be older, retired people, so even the tourists don't seem to be as crappy as in some of the bigger cities. Even though I didn't have my fishing pole, I went to the fishing pier, and the local fishermen were really cool. They showed me their fishing techniques, which we know are very private to fishermen. We had a great time. We talked a little bit. The area depends heavily on tourism, so if you can spend some of your dollars there, the local people really appreciate it. Now, some of the smaller rural communities on the way to Cedar Key are a little bit rough, but the people that work on the island depend on tourism, and they're friendly, and there's some beautiful cottages, awesome little place. Again, another place you should definitely visit. Okay, located in Citrus County, Florida, is the town of Homosassa. The video we're looking at isn't exactly from Homosassa, it's just outside of there. It's in the same county of Citrus County. This is a place where people are a lot of retired people, a lot of older people just trying to enjoy life. They're not in a rush to get anywhere. You're going to meet some really friendly people in Citrus County. Homosassa in particular is right on the water. People are just having a good time, enjoying their lives out there. The river is amazing. There's an island with monkeys. Okay, it's called Monkey Island on the Homosassa River. Even though the name of the town is spelled a little bit rude. I don't know who came up with the spelling for that town. It's kind of offensive. Is it really? I don't know. Whoever came up with the name. But the people are friendly. They're retired. They're just trying to have a good time. The river is very difficult to navigate. While we were there, I actually ended up renting a boat, which I ended up stranding on a rock. Definitely do not navigate those waters if you're not familiar with them. So here I am with this boat that I rented, and I launched it at full speed onto a rock. A person came by with a boat, and they started driving around in circles. And I noticed that it was creating a wave, and I got off the boat, and every time the wave came around, the boat lifted off the ground, and I was able to push the boat back into the water. So the guy he didn't say hi or anything, he just saw that I needed some help, and he made some waves for me, and I was able to use those waves to push this giant pontoon that I rented back into the water. And it was a very scary experience, but, you know, the people there are really friendly. We were fishing. Everybody on the boats is going to wave at you like anywhere else. The people out there are really friendly. Citrus County is a great place, and Homosassa is probably one of the nicest, friendliest areas you're going to meet, simply because people are retired and they're trying to enjoy their lives. Even though the properties out there are on the water and they're big houses, people aren't trying to live some affluent lifestyle. They're not trying to pretend that they're better than you. Even though they're wealthy and well-off people, they're still down-to-earth, good people. You're going to meet some great people in this area, and I really want to nominate the town of Homosassa. Another place you should definitely consider visiting as well. You're going to realize that some of these places, they're slower pace, they're beautiful little towns. The people that live there are retired, and they're happy, so they have great scenery. They're just in a good mood, and when you go there, you can tell that people that live in these environments, they're just genuinely friendlier, happier people, and you'll pick up on it as well. Number 4 is Arcadia, with a beautiful historic district and some beautiful southern homes. The town has an amazing collection of antique stores, so if you like antiques, great excuse to visit this town. It's in the middle of nowhere. You really need an excuse to end up out there. We go to El Charro Mexican restaurant, and even though there's a lot of American restaurants, you'll see a lot of American people going to the Mexican restaurants, and that's always a good sign that people there are willing to, you know, support small businesses regardless of the nationality. And I know that sounds a little bit redundant perhaps, but the reality is that in so many places in Florida, you won't catch a white guy sitting down at a Mexican restaurant, especially a hole-in-the-wall place. The town of Arcadia has a lot of history. There used to be real cowboys out there. Actually, that's not the term they use. They use the term cracker to be more exact. If you call them a cowboy, they might get offended. But these Florida crackers, they used to carry their cattle all the way to Punta Rasa and Fort Myers, which would then be shipped to Cuba. Now, the old-time stories say that the cattle that would get sick or die would get thrown off the barges and the boats, and the sharks would be ready to eat them right there on the spot. I don't know how true that is, but definitely there's a lot of history between Cuba and Arcadia. The wealth of Arcadia was created on the cattle and on the agriculture, and the trade with Cuba was an important part of that. It benefited Arcadia greatly, and it also benefited Cuba. Unfortunately today, even though we're still not far away from each other, There's regulations in place that prohibit these trades that were beneficial for Florida and for Arcadia. But the local people of Arcadia know their history, and they have a really good appreciation for the Latin people, since they've built their wealth with the labor and trade of Hispanic communities, maybe Cuban or Mexican or Guatemalan. Arcadia also has an African American community, and you'll see a lot of white people living right in that community as well, so and hanging out together and stuff. So it seems like it's a really normal place. And I know it sounds redundant, but in Florida, a lot of places you don't see that. It's a really sad thing of life in the United States that people here just can't mix, people just can't get along. So it's great when you find a place that isn't as backwards, might be the right word. But overall, what makes a place great is how good the people are, how friendly they are, and how rich the culture of the area is. It's definitely an area of Florida you need to visit eventually. Now, there wasn't enough space on this list of 10 for everybody in Florida, but the nearby town of LaBelle is exactly the same way. It's about 40% Hispanic, and in LaBelle, it doesn't matter what nationality you are, what race you are. Another one of those towns where people are just good. You're going to notice as we get close to the bottom of the list that this region of Florida, around Lake Okeechobee, especially on the west and north side of Lake Okeechobee, for some reason, people here are just generally friendly, good people. I don't know if it's because it's a really poor area and people have really had to stick together to get through the hard times. I don't know what makes this area so good, but you're going to notice that around this area of Florida, the hospitality, the friendliness of people is just incredible. Even the town of Sebring, which I trash talk quite a bit on this channel because of the poverty there, the people are really friendly in that town. And if I had enough space, I would have also included LaBelle. I would have also included Sebring. In general, this part of Florida, in the south central region, it may be a dangerous area. It may be a poor area in some spots. They have their issues, but the people are really generally friendly, good, warm people. And as we get close to the top of this list, you're going to realize that they really deserve to be on the top of this list. Now, I'm not going to mention too much the Panhandle because the Panhandle, my experiences out there haven't been the best. Maybe in the future we could redo this list. So if you don't agree with this list, you can always comment with your opinion, and we could change this list. I've made a lot of lists that I've upgraded due to the comments of people, so we can definitely refine this list. And this isn't a list we have to fight over because it's awesome to be on this list. And it's awesome that these towns are able to stand out in a positive way. So regardless, it's a good list no matter how you look at it. Well, I'll tell you guys a story about Arcadia. This is many years ago. I was in the Arcadia area, and I wasn't familiar with the Arcadia area. I didn't know anything about the area back then. I'm a picker, and I was doing some freestyle because I had burned out my area. So I expanded into Arcadia, and I was in a rural part of Arcadia. And I did not know anything around here where I live, anything out by the curb is free. But in Arcadia, people have these little metal things that they use for garbage cans. And I saw one by the side of the road, and I thought it was garbage because here in my part of Florida, we don't have that. But there they have bears, so they have to put their garbage cans inside these metal racks. I didn't know that. It was by the curb, so I thought it was free. So I parked by the side of the road, saw this thing, picked it up. A few miles down the road, there's 2 pickup trucks behind me. They flash me down with their lights. I stop by the side of the road, and 2 men holding shotguns come up to my truck, and they say, "Excuse me, sir. We noticed that you picked up that cage. I believe that belongs to us." And apparently, I said, "Hey, I thought it was free." They said, "No, it's not." They didn't curse me out. They didn't scream at me. They didn't disrespect me. They just said, "Hey, sir, that's ours, and we want it back." And they did have their shotguns with them, but they weren't disrespectful. They didn't scream at me. They didn't yell at me. They didn't curse me out. They took their stuff off my truck, and they left. I apologized. They didn't look back at me. And that's just the way people are out here. A lot of times people in the city scream and yell. One of the things that just frustrates me the most, and I've got it twice on video, is when women in particular, do this hand motion, like the get out of my way hand motion. When a woman does that to me, I pull my truck right up to the front of them, and I put it in park, and I sit there, and I just stare back at them and say, "Lady, I have all day. I ain't going nowhere. just aggravates me. It's just one of those things that just angers me. Why would somebody do something so disrespectful to somebody else? Maybe they're used to disrespecting their husbands and their family like that, but you don't know who I am, so don't disrespect me. And that really left a mark in me, that situation there in Arcadia, because even though I stole something from them, which I didn't do it knowingly, it was accidental, but they didn't treat me with disrespect. They were very civil about how they went about it, and that was a big lesson for me. And when I have a situation with somebody, I like to be the same way now. One of the reasons that I decided to move out of Naples, Florida was because of how sick I got of these snobby rich people here in Naples. Of course, it's been 2 years and my property hasn't been able to sell because it's a crappy type of property in a crappy neighborhood that none of these rich snobby people want to live in. So my property still hasn't sold. But one of the things that made me decide I want to leave Naples, I don't care about how much money I make. I just care about getting a smile from a stranger, respect and dignity from people. And sometimes these rich snobby people, they treat you with a lot of disrespect. They look down on you, and I'm sick and tired of it. That's why I decided to move out of Naples. Of course, 2 years later, we're still here, and now with this current world economy situation, it's probably going to be a while. But one of the things that drew me to this part of Florida and got me to explore Florida, which is the reason why we created this channel, as I started to explore Florida to find a place where I would want to live that I would like more than Naples. And one of the things that drew me to this part of Florida was just how friendly the people were. And not only that, but you know, the housing in a lot of these towns that we're mentioning here are really affordable. I mean, you can get a house out here for a third of the price as you would in the city along the coast. And overall, you know, I feel like even though I'm a young person, I have the mentality of an old person because I just want a quiet place to live. So anyways, just a little bit of background on Arcadia and why it's on this list. When you drive through the town, you might see a few things like people on drugs, sleeping on a corner, or somebody just literally on a sidewalk passed out. This part of Florida is really struggling with the drugs. From Arcadia into Sarasota and Bradenton, the heroin is really serious out here. It's among the worst in the state, but that's just something that the good people of this area have to contend with. Number 3 is Dunnellon, Florida. Yes, this is in the same county as Ocala. Dunnellon has the Rainbow River. I don't know what it is about beautiful places, but I guess beautiful places make people be better. Even though the area has very few Hispanic people, I went there with my dad, and my dad, he's Cuban, but he looks like he's from Guatemala. He's short, he's got that little, you know, Central American look, and he looks like a Latino person, undoubtedly. Me, I have green eyes, and I'm tall and whatever, I can play it off. But my dad is unmistakably Latino, and when we're hanging out in this area, we talked in Spanish on purpose, very loudly, just to get a reaction out of people. And the reaction that we got was people started to talk to us in Spanish. Whatever Spanish they knew, they threw it at us. And we found it hysterical that people actually made an effort. You know, being a mostly American area, there's very few Hispanics out here. But the people are really friendly. They're not prejudiced against Latinos. And we did meet some Latinos that live out here, and they absolutely love it. In fact, they're business owners. They're successful business owners. Even though it's a small rural town, they have Mexican restaurants, they have Cuban restaurants, and that's a really rare thing to find in this part of Florida. The real estate is affordable. The people are friendly. It's a great area. Once you get into the wooded areas, a little bit outside of town, it does get a little rougher. I mean, this is rural country Florida, so, you know, Joe Dirt does have to come into town to get groceries. So if you're not used to it, it takes a little bit of adjustment, you know, because, you know, us city people, I'm a city person at this point, we're refined, you know, we expect certain things, you know, public decency and stuff like that. Around here, you'll see those trucks that are squatted, and they hang out in parking lots, driving around in circles. I don't know how they can do it, how they can see what they're driving through, but they do it. It's a very country area from a cultural point of view, and if you're a city person, you're not used to it, it takes some use to it. The people look rough on the outside, but once you get to meet them, they're amazing, friendly, warm people. I really like this area. One of the areas in Florida that I would definitely, if my house eventually ever did sell, this would be the first place I would check the real estate market to see what's out there. It's affordable, it's nice, It is a little bit country, and if you're not used to it, but you know what? They still have a Publix in Dunnellon. They still have everything you would want. There's a Walmart, Publix, everything in the vicinity, and you're like 20 minutes from Ocala, and from the part of Ocala that has all the shops and stuff. So it's a great area. You know, you have the country feel. If you head north, you can drive for hours without seeing traffic or anything. You got Williston. From there on, it's all country roads. So it's a great area. Country people, they're really friendly. They'll give you their time of day. A lot of people out here, they don't care if they drive an old clunker. They don't care. They don't need to impress anybody. They live life for what it is. Good people. And the Rainbow River is awesome. Swampy's Bar and Grill is amazing. The area has a lot of fun stuff to do. Good people. Really an area of Florida I really would actually consider moving to. If you like fishing, there's a lot of good fishing in this area. If you can save a lot of money on your home purchase, so you can buy that pontoon you want. There's lakes, there's rivers, there's the springs. There's a lot to do in this area for a couple that's retiring and looking for economy and still wants to be 5 minutes from a Publix. The town is really great and the people are really good. Of course, if you're not used to it, the country people, you got to get used to it. You know, you might pull up to Publix and there might be somebody with a goat in the back seat. It's country out there, but the people are really awesome, and that's why they're on this list, because of how good the people are. Again, another area where drugs have really done a lot of damage to the community, and it's so sad that these really good communities have this problem. There's a neighborhood that's supposed to be 100% African American, and if you're not African American, you're not supposed to go back there. It's called Shopmeyer. I went back there with my camera, drove around, everybody waved at me, so it's a neighborhood you're not supposed to go to, blah, blah, blah. I went back there, and people were friendly. They waved at me. So even the worst parts, people are good, friendly. Like anywhere else, if you give respect, you'll get respect, and this is an awesome area of Florida. Okay, number 2 on the list is the town of Okeechobee. It was actually number 1 on my Facebook survey. On votes, by far, this town won. Everybody recognized that this is the friendliest part of Florida. And the number 1 is actually not too far away. So number 2 for me, though, on my list, I think number 1 deserves it much more. Number 2 on the list, just as good as number 1, though, pretty much, is Okeechobee, Florida. This is a country town where on the main strip of town, you're going to watch like horses go by in trailers. You can smell the horse manure in downtown. This is a really country area. It takes its name from Lake Okeechobee, where the bass fishing is supposed to be amazing. Again, another area where you can get a house very affordable, leave enough budget for a boat so you can enjoy life a little bit. This area, a lot of people are retiring here. Affordable retirement. There's no beaches here. It's a really slow-paced, boring place. But the people are friendly. The people are downright awesome. The town has everything you need. Doesn't have anything incredible, but it has everything you pretty much need. The people are friendly, and the fact that on the internet, when I did my survey, it was number 1, it kind of let me know that this town has a reputation as a friendly place. Southern hospitality is definitely the thing here. There's a lot of things your town can have a reputation for, but if your town has a reputation for being friendly, that's definitely a reputation you want to have. So congratulations to Okeechobee, Florida for being number 2 on my list and being number 1 on the Facebook list where I took my survey. Just one of those towns where people, you pull up to the store and they're more likely to be towing a boat or an ATV than they are to be hauling some work equipment. So people are out here just enjoying life. They're just trying to have a good time. It's a great place to retire affordably. Just like any city, it has its rougher neighborhoods and its better neighborhoods. I go all over Florida and I go through a lot of neighborhoods, and I saw something in Okeechobee, which I pointed it out in the video, was that in Okeechobee I saw little white boys playing with little black boys, and I saw it again, and I went onto another block and I saw it again, and I realized that people here let their kids play with other kids of other races. Usually the African Americans might live in a particular part of town and they don't mix with the white kids. I don't think they do it to be bad or anything, but I'm just saying the fact that when I drove through Okeechobee, I saw these little black kids playing with these little white kids, riding their bicycles around town together. That to me was a special thing to see. And I immediately thought, man, this has to be recognized and respected. So in Okeechobee, Florida, I really want to give this town my respect because, when you stand out for something like this, you really merit respect and you deserve it. So Okeechobee, my respect, well deserved. It's pathetic that I even have to mention this because that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, the world that we live in today is lacking so many things that it needs to have. That's the way it should be. But anyways, Okeechobee, they got the right idea. Okay, number 1, Moore Haven, Florida. Notice how everybody says hello in this town. Everybody you pass on every single visit to this town, everybody waves hello. Everybody waves hello. You do not get that anywhere in Florida. The only place you get that is in Moore Haven, Florida. It's not too far from Lake Okeechobee. It's not too far from the town of Okeechobee, which was number 2 on this list. Number 1 and well-deserved. I know a family from this town, and they have inculcated into their kids respect, sir, ma'am, yes, sir, no, ma'am. It's a beautiful thing to see in today's world where people are so disrespectful and rude. I have really gone to appreciate the people of this town. It's a poor place. There's not a lot in this area. It's a really poor place. They don't even have a grocery store at the moment. It's a poor place. However, the people of this town, on every single visit that I've gone through there, have impressed me with how friendly and warm they are. There's some great people out there, and I know a family from there, and I have a lot of love and respect for them because actually I admire them deeply because of the same thing, which is just how respectful they are. It's a beautiful thing to see. Most people don't pay attention to it. They might say a lot of profanity. They might be disrespectful. They may not have any manners, and it doesn't make you look better. When you see somebody who is like that, you get to respect them. You have an admiration for them. And it's an admirable thing, and the people of this town are very friendly. It's definitely a poor place, but the people are awesome. And well, that's the list of the top 10 friendliest places in Florida. If there's another town that you think belongs on this list, please leave your comments, and we can go find out about it here soon. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope if you're thinking about moving to Florida, you consider how friendly people are. People look at income and they look at beaches, but part of happiness is other people. And I think with this whole situation that the world is in right now, we have come to appreciate how important social contact with other people is. I know I for a fact have started to realize how much I miss interactions with other people. It's something that we took for granted. We didn't appreciate how important a handshake was, how much it mattered when you were out in the park to see other people, when you were at a restaurant, that everybody was lively. You don't appreciate that until you lose it. So I hope that everybody has enjoyed this video and that we can all try to be nicer, kinder people. You don't have to flick somebody off in traffic. If it's an elderly person, you're going to be elderly one day, and then you're not going to appreciate being flicked off. Before you flick somebody off in traffic, that could be somebody's mother, somebody's wife, somebody's mother who's going to dialysis and they're not feeling well and they have to drive to dialysis, and maybe they're dizzy and tired and they're doing this for their life, for their family, and here you are being a jerk, flicking them off, being a rude person. So try to be a kinder, nicer person. Work on refining your personality so that you can become a more beautiful person. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like or the dislike button if you didn't like the video. Also, make sure you subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And that's it. There it is. That wave you get in Moore Haven, Florida. Thank you so much for watching. I have to say this before I let you guys go. The first time we went to Moore Haven, Florida, the wife and I were in the truck, right? We're just having small talk about what we're seeing. And I told her, the young kid's not going to, all the older people are going to wave hello. I told her, oh, you see these young kids? They think they're tough. There's no way they're going to wave at us. And they did. So even the young people in this town are going to give you that wave. There it is, the Moore Haven friendly wave. I wish every town in Florida did this. Thank you guys so much. We're out.